Okay, this video is how to build muscle for young guys. Okay, and I'm gonna just tell you about my background, what I learned from growing up. When I was a young guy, my mother was from Puerto Rico, so she made lots of rice and beans with chicken. My father was from Ireland. He's a pretty good athlete when he was younger. He was a boxing champion. And my mom's sister was like a PhD in nutrition, and she told my mom, leave a bunch of plates on the kitchen table with fruits and vegetables so when the kids run around playing they can snack on them. And I tell you that because my brother and me, and I have two brothers, we were super strong. I was, before I got injured, I was like the strongest guy in the whole state. I was 39-1 wrestling my junior year, and I like pinned my way in the spring season through schoolboy states. I was a real strong guy until I started having injuries. I fractured a growth plate in my clavicle, and then I had problems after that. I still was student athlete here at Stanford, set the all-time record for wins in a season. But what I'm trying to say is, when I was a senior in college, I wasn't a weightlifter. I was a wrestler. You get real strong from wrestling. I bench pressed 345 pounds at a body weight of 175. I was just strong. Okay, my brother is world champion Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. Okay, and he's like Superman. Okay, and my other brother was a great football player. He ended up getting injured, hurt his knee, but. So what I'm trying to say is we were all super strong. When I was young, what did I eat? Besides my mom's rice, beans, and chicken, she'd occasionally make hamburgers. I ate tons of cereal. Tons of cereal with skim milk. Okay, and it was skim milk and cereal. And I also had peanut butter and jellies, and then lots of fruits and veggies that my mom would leave out on the table, and cucumbers and all that stuff. Okay, so why is it that there does have a bit of an advantage for meat versus plant foods? I'm 100% vegan now. I'm 63 years old, okay? So when you're a young guy, you want big muscles, impress the girls, curls for the girls, benches for the wenches. But when you're an old guy, you just want to keep your arteries open, okay? And there's a good reason for that. In animal protein, it has a different amino acid composition than plant protein. It has more leucine. Leucine is a branched chain amino acid, essential amino acid. It activates mTOR. mTOR means mammalian target of rapamycin, sometimes called mechanistic target of rapamycin, which is a nutrient sensing pathway. And it basically is like a building contractor. Make sure it has enough of the building blocks before it will build the building, before it'll make your cell grow or replicate. So when you eat animal foods, you get faster activation of mTOR for cell growth and cell replication. Okay. You also have more creatine. You don't have creatine in your plant foods. You got creatine in your animal foods, and those are like an ATP reservoir to give you a little more energy for sports performance. So I do think there's an advantage to eating some animal foods. Now, other people tell you, I know a vegan bodybuilder who takes protein powder. I don't like protein powder because protein powders, they're very, very routinely are contaminated with heavy metals. You can see there's a bunch of Consumer Reports articles about that because you throw in some heavy metals, it weighs more, they sell it for more money, they make money off you. Plus, where is that stuff made? China or someplace that hates America, so they want to, do something bad to the young men of America. I wouldn't trust that crap. I never took protein powder in my life, okay? And I can tell you, guys were my age group, we were stronger than you guys, okay? We were a bunch of tough guys, okay? Look at this. We didn't wear bracelets. You guys walk around, looking like women, the way your metrosexuals comb your hair and all these guys wearing bracelets and stuff. That's very feminized. The young men of the modern world are very feminized, and I think it's because there's so many estrogenic chemicals in the food, in the water, and in the personal care products. Your shampoos, your deodorants, colognes, laundry detergents, dishwasher detergents, they all have estrogenic chemicals in them because estrogens make good preservatives. It's a 4-carbon backbone structure is estrogen. It has an aromatic ring, a benzene ring in the corner with a hydroxyl group coming off. It's called a phenol. Benzene ring plus hydroxyl group is the phenol group because it's antimicrobial and it confers good shelf life stability on there. So they put it in all these personal care products. And your drinking water, there's aluminum and fluoride, which are gonadal toxins. They damage your testicles. They lower your sperm counts. They lower your testosterone. Okay? And that's why young men have lower testosterone and they're weaker. Okay? So it's hard to know what meat is safe to eat. A lot of the meat nowadays is kind of poisoned with either processing preservatives or some other chemicals. For example, in the cows, to speed up their growth, estrogen's a fat storage hormone. They give them these estrogenic chemicals to fatten them up, but then when you eat that meat, you're eating estrogenic chemicals, and that has a feminizing effect, okay? So I would never drink whole milk, for example. I would never eat flax or soy. Those are estrogenic off the charts. In terms of plant foods that have more leucine, beans in general, because they're high in protein. So even though they're not necessarily high in leucine, just because they got so much protein in them, about 30% of calories from protein, they're going to have more leucine. All proteins have all the amino acids. It's just the relative percentages of them. Corn has relatively high amounts of leucine. So if you want a anabolic plant food, corn's got more leucine, but I would only eat organic corn because the non-organic corn has all kinds of herbicides sprayed on it. You don't want it. I would never eat anything that's non-organic. My recommendation is never eat non-organic if you have a choice, okay? Oats are also pretty good. In terms of what exercise puts weight on you the fastest is doing squats. Like, we didn't even do squats. I never did a squat in my life until, I was in my 30s, okay? Squats are the best exercise to build muscle fast because it's a heavy weight and it has a total anabolic effect on your body. I don't like bench press because too many guys screw up their shoulders. I don't like deadlifts. Too many guys injure their backs with that. Body weight stuff is great, doing push-ups and pull-ups and chin-ups and dips. I like the Mike Mentzer routine of one set to failure. I think it's reasonable to lift weights twice a week. Once a week is probably good enough, but twice a week should be the maximum for a body part, because if you lift too much, you overtrain yourself, and that's like psychological stress. Elevates your cortisol. Cortisol suppresses testosterone, so it weakens you. Wrestling makes you strong. If you're doing wrestling, man, you're pummeling, you're fighting for position and stuff, that just gives you total body strength. Wrestlers are freaking strong. If you ever tie up with a wrestler, they just have this unnatural, strong upper body strength. And you build that if you wrestle. You can get it just from pummeling. Pummeling means just like Greco-Roman style of wrestling, fighting for position. Okay, let's see. Baling hay, some type of physical activity, moving furniture, that'll make you strong. When I have to walk upstairs to go to my office as a clinical physician, and I put 25 pounds of books in my backpack, so I'm always carrying 25 pounds of books way up this real high building. Let's see, deep sleep. You want to go to bed earlier, because the earlier you go to bed, the more deep sleep you get. Deep sleep happens in the first half of the night, and the earlier you go to the bed, the more deep sleep you get. That increases growth hormone. That also increases testosterone. Your testosterone levels are like highest when you first wake up in the morning. That's part of why guys tend to get a morning wood, okay, because their testosterone is just peaking in the morning. So is their Johnson. Okay, REM sleep in the second half of the night is more like for processing memories, taking the memories of what you learned in the day and interacting them with your baseline memory knowledge already and seeing where the new information fits in terms of its categories, for example. Avoid unnecessary stress, lowers your testosterone. Avoid caffeine because it raises the stress hormones. Cortisol is the opposite, which is cortisol is a stress hormone. So whenever you're stressed, sleep deprived, or caffeinated, you're lowering your testosterone. Okay, protein powders, I told you they're bad. Creatine's bad. I made an entirely separate video about creatine. Let's see, I'll just say a few other things about it. I would never eat those processed meats. They're all crap. They're all full of toxic chemicals. Here's Mike Mentzer. He was the greatest bodybuilder of his time. He got screwed over. He got ripped off by Arnold in 1980, Mr. Olympia, but he was like the smartest bodybuilder, and he was heroic. He was really great when he was young. He kind of became pissed off and depressed, and he kind of destroyed himself, which is sad, but when he was in his prime, he was pretty awesome, and he was real smart. Okay, here's just a couple tricks I do. I'm an old man. I'm 63 years now, so, I'm kind of a skinny little guy now. I weigh about 160 pounds, 5'9". When you're my age, you'll probably be a fat cardiac patient, so don't laugh. But I'm still pretty strong. I can do my maximum push-ups now in the last year has been 57 push-ups. I can take, 70 pounds, I gotta get my numbers mixed up from my chin pulls and from my pull-ups. I think I did 48 reps. Okay, which would be like 24 reps, because that was with each hand. But anyways, the point is I post them on my wall in my bathroom, so I know exactly where I'm at, so I can't BS it. If you keep the numbers in front of you, you know what you have to do when you go to the gym to keep on improving, and so that motivates you to improve. Okay, here's me doing lat pulls. I did a set of, it's 200 pounds for, 50 repetitions, okay? So when you're moving more weight, you get more build. It's good to do some type of cardiac. Cardiac's not going to put muscle on you, but you get muscle from sprinting. Look at sprinters. They're all built like bodybuilders. Look at long distance runners. They're all a bunch of skinny toothpicks. I like to walk on a treadmill like 7 miles at a time. At a typical speed, my average speed would be about 3.5 miles per hour. When I'm reading, I like to go about 3.2, 3.3, and then I start speeding it up as I go along. the point of the matter is when you have decent cardiovascular fitness, it gives you better blood flow throughout your body. Same thing with eating low-fat plant foods primarily. So eat a little bit of animal foods when you're 20 years old. When you're older, you might want to go 100% vegan like I am to keep your arteries as clear as possible and to prevent the chance of cancer growing. But anyways, you want good cardiovascular fitness. Get a little sunshine. It makes you look better. You'll be jacked and tanned. Here's me doing curls, 35-pound dumbbells. Here's me doing push-ups. That's a good exercise. So anyways, that sort of answers the questions that I get from a lot of these young guys. Can you be jacked when you're and strong when you're eating a plant-based diet? And I say you can, but I'd probably eat a little bit of animal foods if I was, serious about physical competition. There's a movie called Game Changers that's all about plant-based athletes, okay? And they tend to be great at endurance sports, but eating a little bit of meat, even though that'll sound, like blasphemy to my 100% vegan watchers of this channel, I think for a young guy it's okay. But once you hit middle age, you're not in competitive sports, it's good to eventually become 100% vegan. The only supplement I take is a little bit of a real minuscule, tiny amount of vitamin B12 once every 2 months. It's the smallest possible dose. I'm not even sure I need it. So I think that's a good way to go because, women care a lot more about your bank account than they do about your bench press, okay? So don't worry too much about it. Also, after 40 years of age, being skinny is a status symbol because most people are fat, okay? And you want to keep your brain sharp, okay? Most Americans are fat, sick, and stupid by the time they're 60 years of age. So if you eat these low-fat plant-based diets, you get good blood flow to your brain. You keep your smarts. I got entirely separate videos on that. So anyways, that's all I got to say here. I hope you found that helpful.